We're going to stick with the zebra herd, see if they actually manage to join up with each other. But while we do that, let's see how Tristan's search for the leopards is going.
Well, our search is taking us back home, so you might be wondering why I'm driving around at the DRC, and that's because Hosanna's tracks are right in amongst all of this. So I'm trying to find out where exactly he went, but it seems as though he was having a full-on game all inside this area. So I can't find where he went from the last track, which is close to James's tent. So I wonder if he's not just sitting at the tent waiting for James to get back. So I'm going past there now. So this is all DRC that you can see here, and I'll show you exactly where his tracks are now. They come past in this general vicinity. So say hello, Megan, because Megan and the rest are inside there. But here is where he comes from. He comes this direction, and his footprints are all over the place. So I'm trying to just double check and scan and try and work out exactly where he went. You can see here he is. Well, his tracks are coming up on my right hand side, so they're all littered around this area, and he kind of spent his time walking around here and messing around in this section. So James's tent is just over there. You can just see the roof of the tent right there. So I wonder if he's not just spending a bit of time near James's tent and having a little look as to what's going on. But he's somewhere close by, because we've checked everywhere else around this area. We cannot find a single sign of him anywhere else here. So the last tracks go up this way. You can see where I found them just in front where I turned around, and that is it. We can't find a single track going any other direction other than in this direction here. So I don't know, he must be close by. He must be just giving us the little run around where he's kind of sneaking about. Either that, or we're completely blind and we just keep missing his footprint. But I honestly cannot find another track anywhere else. I've driven all over Quarantine looking for where he could have gone. My feeling is that he's gone back down towards this drainage line, and that's it, because there's nothing that we can see coming here. Seek Truth, you're saying maybe he's having a nap in our beds. Well, yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's decided that he's found himself a good spot here, and he's lots of different people to go and play around and mess around with, and so that's why he's just taking it very easy in this general vicinity. Now I'm just trying to scan. No, that's hyena. That's the other thing, is there's hyena tracks everywhere here, but our leopard not so much. So I don't know where he is gone, but he doesn't cross this road. So from there he just disappears. There's no tracks crossing here. It's nice soft substrate, so we should see his tracks really easily, but alas, we see nothing. So I don't know if he's turned and gone back towards James's tent. We might just go and have a little look around the tent itself and just see, maybe he's lying under the shade there or something like that. But this seriously is quite confusing, because he should theoretically pop out right here, but he doesn't. So while I kind of try and figure out where exactly Hosanna went and what he's been up to this morning, I believe Jamie is still on her birding mission, and I think she's got some more beautiful birds to show all of you.
One of them has just flown away, but I'm going to apologize in advance for the background noise. I've brought you here for a very specific reason, and I'll explain that in a moment. But first, a tropical Boubou to add to your list, and it was with its partner doing its standard beautiful Boubou call. And yes, Boubou that's exactly how you say it. It is a Boubou. It is a Boubou spelled B-O-U-B-O-U. Boubou. Tropical Boubou. So there it is, hidden in the trees. The reason that we're here is because this is the place where the blue flycatchers used to nest, and I'm desperate to show some of you the African blue flycatcher. It's now one of my favorite birds. Oh, I can hear a blackback puffback, but it has meant a trip to outside the Angama staff kitchen. So that is where we are. This is where we used to live up until the camp was completed and built. The blue flycatchers nest in the tree next to the red bench, and we used to see them every single day. So that was our red bench where we used to enjoy our chai in the morning. And somewhere there, no, where did you go? somewhere there is where the blue flycatchers used to live, but I've been to see their nests, and oh goodness, and it is no longer, sorry, I lost the page I was trying to show you. It is no longer active. So the blue flycatchers aren't here, and I can't find them, and I'm really quite devastated about it, because that's what they look like. And they really are the brightest baby blue you can imagine. They are they're like something out of a fairy tale. Kirsty says they're the Twitter bird. They are what the Twitter bird was modeled on. Apologies for the hammering. I mean, really, I am now invading space quite seriously, but I thought you might also like to know where we used to live. And it was the only place I knew we could find blue flycatchers. You can find them outside our tent occasionally, but I can't drive there. There's a fence there now, so I can't drive there. I can't even... Blue flycatcher! No! It just flew past. No way! Oh no! Oh, come on. Wait, I'm going to call it. It flew, it's gone behind where the Boubou was and to the right. No, I promise you that is ridiculous. I just saw it fly past. But now the hammering, I think, is going to be too noisy. I don't think I can call it, not with all this noise. No, I promise. Jumbo. I can't. I was naughty before. I cannot drive down there. Come on, blue flycatcher. It's been hiding in the bush behind me the entire time we've been here. No. Alright, well, it was a good try. And I should probably explain to these people what we're doing here, because they're looking very confused. Roshni, you say that the Boubou was number 3 on your Mara list. Remember I said that it sounds like it's singing something. I'll play it for you quickly while I wait for the blue flycatcher to magically appear like it just did. Oh, I can't believe that. I feel like such an idiot. It's been hiding behind me the whole time. Oh, there's the smell that I remember so well. This is what they sound like. Whoops. Sort of. Ours have got a different accent here. And then there's a bull snap. Okay. I think I'm going to exit the Angama staff kitchen. They've been very welcoming and very accommodating so far, but the blue flycatcher is not. And I will not forget that. So I'm going to scoot on out of here and make my escape. Maybe I'll come across the blue flycatcher a bit later. Let's send you across to Scott. Let's find out where he is. Swine!
What were they looking at? Hello everyone, welcome back. Just going slowly here because 1 or 2 vehicles stopped for a short period of time in this area and had a look around. We were a bit of a way off. I used my old binocular machine. I can see something whitish, which could be a lion flat in the grass. No. That appears to be some rocks. I wonder what they saw. So we're slowly still making our way down towards Lookout Hill, where we are hoping to get some luck with some crossings. I'm told Brent's been waiting patiently further upstream of us, but no joy. And it sounds like you've been having a great morning birding with Jamie. I'm so happy she got the Ross's Tarraco for you. That was her, I think, her main goal. And aren't they incredibly beautiful birds? Another interesting animal that Ferg and I saw for the first time, and I don't think anyone else has seen any since we've been here, were some bush pigs. And sadly, they just ran across the road and disappeared into some thick bush, so we didn't have a chance of showing them to you. That was also higher up on top of the escarpment before we dropped down. They're such cool animals. The old bush pig. Well, one of our technical wizards, Jared, who we stole from America, we've kidnapped him. He was lucky enough to see some bush pig while he was up in the Mara. Good to hear that, Jared. It's a lucky one to see. They're usually kind of more nocturnal, and I don't think we'll get them down in the plains very much. We can have a beautiful view of the zebra coming towards us. Let me just try level the vehicle out a bit. Make Ferg's life easier. Not doing a good job though. Got a nice low angle here as well. He still has to do some final tweaking. And now that the sun's popping up, we're going to get some great views of these guys heading straight towards us. Morning. What an awesome scene that is. It's a very pleasant change of scenery having the sun out. It's been quite cold this morning, and I guess it's probably attributed to the fact that Ferg and I have been steadily moving without stopping too much, so the wind chill factor definitely kicks in. Magical. Now, with a little bit of luck, we'll see these animals along with some wildebeest and topi doing some crossings. Very, very good. Let me just show you where Lookout Hill is in relation to us, just so you've got an idea of where we have to head off to. Hello James, good to have you on board. You'd like to know what would happen if the stallion who's in charge of a certain harem of zebra dies. Would the females all go off in their own way, or would one stallion take over that same herd? I guess if there is, we need to rush you off to Brent.
As you can see, the zebras have found a relatively safe but quite deep crossing. No crocodiles. We can't get any closer to them, unfortunately, but the crocodiles haven't found them yet, and they are managing to join up with the rest of their herd. So there is a happy ending to the story so far. There are still a few more zebra. Oh, they're struggling to get out on the other side. Welcome to everyone. We're about to have some zebras plunge themselves into the murderous Mara River. We've been following them for the last hour or so. Two made it across. One got killed by a crocodile before we arrived, and they've been calling forlornly for each other. But now the rest are about to make the plunge to join the other three on the other bank of the Mara. Oh, there's one there, but it's a bit scared. Have they spotted a crocodile? Are they going to make the plunge? There's a crocodile. That's what scared them. So two made it across. Now all of a sudden there's a big crocodile, and the others have backed away from the crossing. Oh, one's going for it. Oh, there's another one going for it. Are they going to get past the crocs? Come on, zebras. We've been following you for so long. There's a croc moving in towards them. Oh, it looks a little bit small. There's an all big zebra that is trying to probably find a young zebra. And it looks like they might make it. Let me just move forward for you a little bit, Craig, so we can see where they're climbing out. hold on, guys. We just need to move forward a bit. Now, this is where another dangerous part comes. It's very steep, slippery banks. We had a lot of rain last night. And you can see them struggling up the bank. Christopher says those zebras are booking it indeed. Now, all that turmoil that's happening while they're trying to get up the bank, that could attract crocodiles. There's a big croc coming into the... There we go, look at that. Where are you going, croc? You're missing the zebras. Oh, shame, they're really struggling. This is difficult, I know. Oh, nearly. So they've chosen not to cross at the traditional spots because there have been so many crocodiles there. But now crossing it in an area they don't normally cross in has proven maybe not to be the best idea because of how slippery the banks are. And oh, there we go, croc coming in topside. That's a big one. Oh dear, zebras. So all that fighting to get up the bank has attracted the crocodiles. And that crocodile is so full, he's not even really attempting. Oh, shame. Oh, no, there's a croc heading to the right. That croc is trying to made an attempt at that little zebra. More crocs coming into the left. Sorry, Craig. Now, some of the zebra are tired. They haven't... Oh, well done. One of them has made it. One of the little ones has made it across. Well done, little one. Oh, shame. This is very difficult to watch sometimes. Robin says, I hope they make it. Me too, Robin. Another one's about to make it. Two have made it out. That seems to be a slightly better spot to try climb out. Croc. Oh no, shame. One of them. Oh, he got away. But I think there's too many crocs. Come on, you can do it. Get away from that croc. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, he's got him. Oh no, he's got away again. Come on, you can do it. Get up the bank. Nearly there, you're nearly there. You've survived 2 crocodile attacks, and you made it. Well done. No broken legs. Oh, well done, little zebra. Now, there's still a couple struggling. That one looks like it's... Oh, next one made it down to the bottom. But now there's still 2 that are struggling in quite a difficult spot. Craig, I'm just going to move upstream a little bit because I think they're going to swim past that tree. One has decided to return. One has decided to try swim back to the opposite bank. The other is still struggling to climb out on the other side. There are more crocodiles streaming in from upstream. Are you going to make it? Come on, you can do it. Lara Moore says this is heart-reaching. Indeed it is. It is sometimes very difficult to watch this, but this is nature playing out. Oh, the other one has made it back. It's made it back to our side and has decided that it's safer. Oh my goodness, look at the size of that crocodile moving towards the other struggling one. You see it, Craig? I'm going to move backwards. Oh no, the zebra's decided to swim back to the side, away from the crocodiles. Come on, you can get back. There's a croc right on its tail. Oh, it's just below the bank. Let me move forward. See if we can get a little view down one of these hippo paths. Can you see anything? Oh, I just see crocodiles. I can just see wakes of crocodiles moving in. Oh dear, I don't think it made it. Let's try from a bit further back, see if we can see upstream. Now, I understand this is very difficult, but it has to happen. The crocodiles need to eat. And has it made it out? It's made it! Well done, zebra. And not too many wounds by the looks of things. I'll shake their head and say, well, that was a close call. Well done, little one. Now, I still want to go check a little bit further downstream. There were two, and I'm not sure both made it. That was a very disturbing crossing, and for sensitive viewers, as I was saying, the crocodiles need to eat, and if the zebras didn't get eaten, their population would become out of control. Okay, let's go have a look a little bit down again. So, oh no, both of them made it. There's the other one. Both of them made it. Oh dear. Well, at least they made it back, but now the incessant calling of the rest of the herd is going to make them try cross again at some point. But I think after that really traumatic crossing, it's going to be quite a while before they attempt to cross again. Janet, there we go, you can hear them calling for the rest of the herd. Janet was saying, has a crocodile ever choked on its meal? Not that I've ever heard of, Janet. They are adept at predators. They're adept predators, and I don't think they would choke on their meal. Luckily, these two zebra don't seem to have been too badly injured by all the crocodiles. Well, at least these two made it back. Now I can actually hear the rest of the herd calling in the distance. So we're probably going to stay around here for a bit longer. I don't think these guys are going to attempt a crossing anytime very soon. But as I say, it was quite traumatic. But at least none of the zebra got whacked by the crocs. They all made it through. So, and positive on that note. Unfortunately, two stuck this side. But remember, we might go live at any time. So keep a lookout for that live notification. So from Batman and myself for now, bye. Oh, wasn't that quite? Oh, that was quite an emotional roller coaster. That I'm quite glad all the zebra made it through, and sure. Well, I think we're going to keep moving. We've still got a lot of distance to cover today as we head down to cross the river at Purungat Bridge, and as you can see, these two zebras seem like they didn't even get any big holes in them, and they managed to escape. The crocs actually thought one of them might drown for a while. Now, let us go back all the way to South Africa to Tristan with a spotted predator, but not the one you think.
No, not the one we were looking for at all. We've decided that Hosana must be somewhere around the camp. We just can't find any sign of him coming out from that area, and well, we've decided then just to come towards the Hyena Den and see what's happening here. And so there's two different hyenas that are lying here. No sign of any of the young ones, so I can't see Djuma or the two youngest ones. And there's this individual and then a rather large female at the back that I don't recognize. Quite ginger, clean ears, so I'm not sure who that is at the moment, and it'll be interesting. Hopefully they decide to stand up and move a little bit, but that is a very sort of ginger colored hyena, and I don't recognize it at all. I'm sure some of the others might be able to recognize it. Hopefully it puts its head up at some point and will be able to tell us who that is, because it's not Gwen, that's for sure, and it's not Ribbon. With those ears so clean and rounded the way that it is, it's going to be interesting as to who exactly this is. Now, the other hyena lying closest to us, you can see, is also fast asleep, and I wonder if the little ones maybe have already suckled, and because of the cloudy kind of windy conditions, it's a little chilly out here. I wonder if that means that maybe, just maybe, they've gone in and had a sleep now after suckling. Now the other one has got her head up at the moment. Oh no, now it's flopped back down. Sorry, Vildi. So I was hoping with the head up maybe we could get some sort of an idea as to who exactly that is, But I'm interested to know, because at the end of the day, we know that Ribbon and Gwen are both lower ranking females, and that this den site itself, we haven't seen any of the high ranking individuals here, and in fact we actually haven't seen much of the high ranking individuals over the last little bit. So Madam and Pretty and the likes haven't really kind of been spending much time this side, and it's interesting if they are here today, whether they might start coming in and actually taking over a little bit more, and maybe we'll start to see them also having young ones somewhere on Vuyatela as well. I still maintain that they must have a den site to the south of us on Hofmans or Little Gowrie. River Bend, yes, hyenas have been known to kill people from time to time. Generally not adults. It's only if potentially people have left their tents open and are sleeping or camping in areas like this that people have been, or adults have been killed. But kids, most certainly. It does happen more than we'd actually probably like to know. A lot of the time also it's happening in quite rural areas where the reporting process and the access to medical care is quite limited, and so it doesn't actually get sort of found out that hyenas are to blame. But I know I spoke to a paramedic that used to work a lot in Botswana and Zimbabwe areas, and they said that they used to often find or get called out for kids being dragged off by hyenas, and people then again, like I say, camping, that leave their tents open because it's hot or something like that, and the hyenas then come in and grab them and pull them out and kill them from there. So they are incredibly dangerous in that regard. If you're up and moving and you're awake, then the hyenas generally are not a problem at all. In fact, if you out here and we come across a hyena on foot, it's one of the last things that we worry about. It's not really that much of a sort of bother. They generally will move off away from you and not really worry. It's only if you, like I say, are incapacitated in some way, so either you're sleeping or you're injured or something like that, then you're going to have a bit of a problem. There actually has been a death of a person here in the Sabi Sands by a hyena as well. There was a ranger that was killed in early 2000s by a hyena in his room. Again, same story. He fell asleep and left his door open, and the hyena bit him on the throat and killed him. So they can be very dangerous if, like I say, you're incapacitated. If you're awake and you're conscious and you're moving around, then no, you don't have too much to worry about. But it seems as though with this lot we wouldn't have too much to worry about anyway, because they're all sleepy. There's really not much going on at all. They kind of eyes are open every now and then as they sort of watch around, and every now and then we see them putting their noses up to the breeze, but for the most part everybody's pretty tired and sleepy. I would imagine good weather for that. It's a morning of bed weather, that's for sure. I was hoping that we might see one of them sort of get up and meander towards the actual entrance to the den and call the little ones out, because I haven't seen the two little rascals for a week or so, and it'd be nice to catch up with them again. They're growing so much by the day at the moment and seem to be developing quite a personality as well. See, she's just grooming and just making sure that get any of little bits of fur or things that are stuck there, maybe a few burrs. Now that we're going into summer, it's going to happen more and more. A lot of the seeds are quite sticky and they actually stick to the coats of these animals, so grooming is needed in order to keep themselves clean. So even hyenas, who everyone always thinks that are quite dirty animals, they're actually not. They keep themselves very clean. They do groom quite a bit as well and make sure that they also keep their coats in good condition, much like what the cats do. So they've got a bad reputation, and for a lot of the time for the wrong reasons. They're actually a very clean animal. It's just that when they feed, they tend to feed with a bit of sort of zealous over eagerness, and they end up getting blood all over the place, but they actually will groom it off quite quickly. But look at those teeth. It's a serious set of teeth they've got in there. Are you going to get up and move? Wonder where you're off to. Robert, you're wondering what is the size of territories for hyenas. Well, it depends. It's much like the size of territories for most of our predators. It depends on the amount of the amount of density. And so if there's a lot of hyenas or if there's less hyenas, it just depends on those kind of things. If you've got a situation where it's a high density, then territories will be much smaller, and if it's low density, much bigger. Here in the Sabi Sands, quite a high density of hyenas, and so there is, let's just see, maybe there's going to be a bit of communication and see if the little ones come out. But there's quite a high density, so the average territory sizes are quite small. We know that this clan is here on Djuma and a little bit into Buffels Hook and those areas where, and then just to the west and not far, within sort of, I would say, as the crow flies, maybe 3 kilometers is the den site for the EP clan. And so they got quite small territories in the Sabi Sands because of the amount of hyenas that we have here. Now here comes the other individual who's limping. Now I don't know who was telling me. Somebody was saying that one of the hyenas is limping. I'm not sure which one it is. Come on. Is it Gwen? It is actually Gwen. Now that I can see it a little bit closer, those ears are a bit tatty. Now, you can see her neck is also a bit tatty too. So, listen to this. How cool is that? So that's just a little greeting procedure between them. They're all just greeting each other, making sure that they all know who is who. You can see Ntima came running out. She's now getting involved and sniffing around as well. So she's heard mom is here, and that's why she's coming out. You can see she's going towards mom's teats to try and see if she can suckle. So really interesting behavior and such cool sounds that hyenas make. Now I can see one of the other little ones is now poking its head out of the hole as well. There they come. Hey guys, morning. So they're also coming out just to check what's all this commotion, who's making all this noise, and what is actually going on. So how cool is that? The reason they're doing that is it's a greeting. So they're busy checking who everybody is. They're communicating to one another. It's almost like us coming together and shaking hands and saying hello. It's the exact same thing with them. So what they've done is they have a situation where they've come together, they sniff each other's genitals, and they then make these noises to greet each other. Now VM's following an African harrier hawk, or Gymnogene is its other name. There you can see it's flying about and being chased by various other birds, and it's landed in that tree over there. So that was pretty sharp work, VM, well done. And still a little bit of communication going on, still a little bit of sniffing around. You can see tails are raised in the air, so they're just all greeting one another. They see Intima's going and sniffing around. Well, actually, sorry, it's one of the younger ones that's sniffing around there, and they're all just kind of communicating, and this is their social way of greeting. So there's lots of little rubs up on the faces, and look at that. How cute is this? Now I'm a bit worried about repositioning. I know VM's got lots of branches in the way, and the reason why I don't want to reposition is it might send the little ones scuttling off back to their thing, and this is such interesting behavior to watch them. You see how they lift their leg so that they can smell each other's genitals, and they can work out, okay, who is this? I know, okay, that's my mom, or it's another member of the clan that I know very well. And how interesting just to watch how this all goes. You can see the little ones are trying to suckle from Gwen. They're trying to get milk. They want milk. There's another one that's being very submissive and allowing the other one to sniff it and to work out who exactly it is. So really interesting behavior, and to watch this process is super cool. You can hear Intima's squeaking as well. Now it's not every day that we get to see this kind of situation where they all come out and they greet one another. Most of the time we get here and the little ones are already out with moms, and so to see this and to see them actually kind of checking each other out is pretty interesting. I'm going to try and just sneak forward a little bit for VM so that he doesn't have to deal with this whole tree that we've got here. There's this massive kind of tree that poor VM's trying to film through, and if I just go slightly forward, it's going to be nice and open for him. So I'm just going to go around a branch. There we go. Sassy B, you say this makes your heart so happy. It is a happy scene, isn't it? It's amazing to watch, and I love listening to hyenas. They've got such cool calls and such a wide variety of calls that they make, and so it's always super interesting. And to see the sort of happiness in the little ones as they've noticed, okay, mom is here and there's milk that's potentially available. You can see that little one is trying to suckle even though Gwen is still standing up, and so it's interesting just to watch the social dynamic and how they interact with one another and how they kind of take each other's sort of cues, and there's all these little social nuances that hyenas have that a lot of other animals don't have. So always a wonderful thing to watch the greeting procedures amongst them. Now when you see a hyena with its tail up, oh hello, you've got your little giggle going. When you see a hyena with its tail up like that, is always an indication that there's something going on. So it's either going to indicate excitement, or if they're at something like a carcass and they're trying to challenge a predator, or when they're greeting each other like this. So if you see that behavior, you know that there's something interesting that's taking place, and you can see they're busy sniffing around together and just working out what's going on. And I wouldn't be surprised we see a bit of scent marking in that area as well. Marco, you're asking if there's much folklore in the villages around us and in terms of the local communities about hyenas. Not that I've heard, to be honest. I've never really heard of any sort of folklores about them or any sort of beliefs or anything like that. I mean, I'll ask Kirby and Rex and see, maybe they've got some information for me, but I honestly have never really, none of my trackers have ever told me anything about hyenas that is particularly sort of cultural or any sort of folklore that is believed about them. So, you know, they obviously, when you spend a lot of time with trackers and you generally spend sort of 7 hours a day with them, you typically hear little things about things, and particularly hyenas, because we spent a lot of time with hyenas over the years, and that means that it's normally a situation where your tracker will pipe up with something at some point, because trackers generally, a lot of them have a good sense of humor, as do Rex and Herbie, and they generally kind of let out some sort of bit of information at some point, and I've never heard anything really. So not that I know of. It's not to say there isn't. There might be certain cultures that do believe things about hyenas. Maybe up in Kenya, the Maasai have something, or some of the tribes in South Africa even might believe things about hyenas, but certainly not that I've heard from the Shangaan tribe that is around this area, or the Shangaan people. So, but there we go. So Ribbon is settled, and Team is now settling into it. The two little ones are getting groomed by Gwen on the other side, and so everybody is now settling into place. And I love how the one is sitting, just being groomed by mom. Look how it kind of looks as though it's in seventh heaven by the way that it's just lying there and being groomed. And the other one is lying like he's about to watch something on the couch. He's kind of got his bum plunked down and his two legs spread. Right, now while we spend a bit of time with these highly entertaining hyenas, I believe Jamie Patterson has found herself a wonderful specimen of an arboreal, well, of a tree actually, and she would love to show all of you.
Look at this beautiful fig tree. I just had to stop and show it to you because it really is truly lovely. But what I really want to show you is the bird that's now flown, naturally, that has now flown around to the other side of it. So hold on one sec while we reposition. Unfortunately, it is into the sun. I think I could actually get onto a road that leads to the Morin pit. Let's get a bit closer. By the way, my sincerest apologies. I was not in any way shouting at the bird. I maybe just saw a warthog. Swine. No, I was shouting at the bird. Sorry. Word with great affection. Right, now don't you do it to me. I hope our signal holds out. I'm actually going to stop here. Oh, it's going to go behind a bush very soon. There's the ground hornbill that I said I could hear calling. And it's got something in its bill. Should we go see if it... Okay, we're going to test the boundaries of signal because it is going to vanish. So just be aware that we might vanish off your screens, in which case we do apologize. The people at the gate are looking at me like I'm completely mental. I'm getting used to that today. The other thing I'm looking for on a day like today, now that the sun is coming out, is the really beautiful agamas that hang out in this area. So this is a murrum pit that we're in, and a murrum pit is a borrow pit. It's where the graders will come in order speaking about... Slow down, Hornbill. We are speaking about those places where graders have come in and they've dug up soil and they use them to create roads. And what it ultimately does is creates a nice drinking spot. It's a frog. The Hornbill has caught a frog. Oh, and now it's swapped the frog for a beetle. Well, down the hatch it goes. Obviously easier to swallow than the said frog. So now we've had the hummercorp and the frog with Taylor, and we've got the ground hornbill, and I would love to tell you what frog it is, but it's a bit mangled, to be honest. Little bit tricky to try and work out what that is. Now, where are you taking it? This is a ground hornbill thing. They walk around with the food for a while before they feed on it. Often, I think, to present it as gifts to other hornbills, but I think this poor one might be all on its lonesome. No, that can't be the case. I'm sure I heard two this morning. Where are you going? Now you've really gone beyond my reach, and I don't think I should go trailing off after it. It would probably be frowned upon, for a change. But quickly, let me show you this beautiful fig, since it's now beautifully illuminated. Figs on, but it's these beautiful figs over here that are the real, I don't know, they're just such gorgeous trees, and they're really nice climbing trees. For those of you that like climbing trees, as I'm sure most of you do, I enjoy climbing the trees, and fig trees are definitely the best. You just got to watch out for the wasps. Lots of wasps, lots of spiders, but nothing too dangerous. Lovely. Now, Jared, I hear. Now, Jared, of course, started off. Jared is a member of our tech team, a very valued member of our tech team. Jared started off in the Mara, and Jared tells me he has climbed this tree from both sides. Well done, Jared. It is the best sunset spot, is it not? Or it's one of the better sunset spots. We love it. When occasionally we are here to view the sunsets. Oh, there we go. We miss you, Jared. Jared is now in South Africa with the Djuma team. Jared, of course, is the one who saw the three servals outside his tent. Or heard. And sent me a voice note of it. Oh, that was quite a bump. You still on there, Jawi? Sorry. Accident. Okay, let's go find a pretty Angama for you. We're back with the zebras, the same. Back.
Now, we're just repositioning slightly. There's just one of the little ones you can see is trying to come a little bit closer. Sorry about the gremlins that Jamie's got at the moment. She seems to have a few little breakups in picture, but I'm sure they'll be sorted out come this afternoon. But look at this little one. It's just investigating us. Who are we and what are we doing? And they're starting to suckle a little bit, so I want to try and just move a little bit back for VM because that branch is right in his way. So I'm just going to try and go back a little bit. The little ones might move slightly, but they'll be okay once we get into a situation where we're out of the way of the tree. There we go. Now you can see they'll relax quite quickly and start feeding again. But how cute are they, especially the one on the left that's almost sitting to attention at the moment and is posing as well as it can. They really are funny little things. I love baby hyenas. They're such fun to watch and to see move around. They tend to have a lot of character, and if anybody ever has sort of some reservations about hyenas, a Hyena Den is the best place to take them, particularly when you've got little ones of this size, because they are highly very entertaining. They're all over the show. They're curious. They like to play. They're up and down, and well, they are quite cute as well. You can see Gwen is being rather kind as well. She's opening her legs so that they can feed a little bit more comfortably, and you can see that she's only got those 2 teeth, so the one little one is struggling to get anywhere near. It keeps getting chased away by the darker one, which does happen sometimes. There will be, out of the siblings, one that is a little bit more sort of, I suppose dominant is the word for it, and is able to actually then sort of push them apart. You can see they're just having a little look around. Cute chemistry. That hyena is just dark. It is not covered in mud. When they are born, they are covered, or they are dark black brown color, and then as they start to get older, so the little spots start to develop, and you get a situation where these little ones will be able to sort of show those spots and where they get their name from. So it is still dark, and it is because it is still a young hyena. As it gets older, it will start to get more spots, and the spots will eventually start to fade like the mother. If you look at the mother, her spots are almost like a light brown color, whereas the individual on the right, you can see, has got a more dark black spotted coat than what the mother does. And I love how the one is just watching what's going on. It doesn't let go of suckling though. It's still, even though it's kind of taking sort of the world in and checking what's going on, it doesn't stop suckling, and will still be able to look around. But how cute is that in terms of a little family portrait photo? Here's the 2 little ones with Gwen, who looks quite thoroughly exhausted. The other interesting thing is that these hyenas definitely didn't get a meal last night. You can see they were both quite thin when they were standing up, so there was a lot more. Well, they obviously didn't find food, and I'm surprised by that, because I would have expected last night to a number of different animals to have been killed by predators, and maybe they would have then stolen. And I know for a fact that there was a carcass stolen from a male leopard on Torchwood Buffelshoek boundary, so just to the east of Cheetah Cut Line. There was a big carcass stolen there because there was a drag mark with the leopard track, and that then got stolen by hyenas. So I wonder which hyenas were involved in that. Maybe some from Kruger Park, or maybe it was, like I say, Pretty or Madam, or one of them that stole from that side. How cute is that though? Look at this little one kind of rubbed up against mom. This is a much softer side of hyenas than what people often imagine them to be, and that's why I say, if there's any sort of preconceived notion, a hyena den is sometimes the best place to take people, just to show them that these are incredible animals that are highly social and highly intelligent animals. This Candy, you're wondering how deep a hyena den is. Well, I mean, obviously it depends on this termite mound that they've chosen, and it depends on the individuals, but I'd imagine it's fairly deep. I've never stuck my head down a den, to be honest, to measure the depth of how far it goes down, but as far as I understand with hyena dens, there's often multiple different layers that they have within their den. So there will be kind of slightly higher bunk areas where the little ones will sleep, and all kinds of other things like that. And so I would imagine, if I had to guess, in a den like the one that we're at the moment, I'd probably say it maybe goes down 2 or 3 meters maximum, but I would imagine about 1.5 meters is how far these little ones go inside. I don't think they'd go too much further than that. I think it's, you know, at the end of the day, more than adequate for these guys to survive. You can see there's a definite little ranking that's going on between these ones. You've got the one that is the chocolate brown one that seems to be far more dominant over the one that's spotty and got a more tan colored coat. You can see that one's trying to get into a teat, but keeps getting shouted at by the other one. And now that they've kind of rolled, or Gwen has rolled a little bit better, it seems as though they both have access, and I think that will be that. Everybody will settle down into a proper feeding pattern. And Tima is also just completely flat and sleeping as well. She's having a really good suckle, and is much like she was a few days ago. Now we're going to stay with our hyenas because there's very little else going on out here, and so we're going to enjoy the company of all of them, and they've been quite a treat so far. But I believe Scott has got some company of his own in the form of a stripy horse.
So we've made it into the area of Lookout Hill, and sadly there's not as many animals as I was hoping to find here. This is a herd of zebra stallions that have been trying to work out who's the boss between them. They seem to have calmed down now, but there was a little bit of kicking and biting earlier. Ferg, if you just pan across and just show the plains below Lookout Hill to the left, you guys will see that it's not filled with wildebeest, as it may have been yesterday. There's just a few on our side of the river, but absolutely nothing other than a few buffalo on the eastern side. So it seems like we're going to have to adapt our plans for the morning to spend the whole day here, or slash day. Wouldn't make a huge amount of sense. I don't think too many crossings are going to be happening here, which is all good because you've already had a crossing with Brent this morning, so I'm glad he got that in the bank. And now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to head more inland away from the river. There are quite a few herds up in that area, and we may find some good action up there. Hello, Serafina. You'd like to know if I think the zebra learn from their crossing experiences. And I guess yes. I mean, they'll probably, learn a bit of the kind of hardships of crossing, the swimming, the currents, the slippery rocks. Oh, I think there was a secretary bird that just walked through behind them to the left there, Ferg. Very nice. Looking for brekkie. And yeah, I mean, I guess they do learn to a fair degree, but then again, I think it's fair to say that sometimes it seems like they're quite stupid, because they'll cross, they'll see crocodiles eating their cousins, yet they will still cross after knowing that there's threats in the river. But maybe it's just the power to search for more food, or the urge and drive to search for more pasture, that causes them to take these risks. Oh, looked like it may have got a grasshopper there. So, yes and no. I think they do learn a little bit, but a lot. And use past experience as much as we as humans do.
Now, unfortunately, Scott seems to have the same problem that Jamie does, and the gremlins are attacking him as well. We're still with our little ones, and there's still lots of gamesmanship going on between them, and you're finding that the darker one is still bullying the lighter one quite a bit. So as they settle into feed, then that darker one gets jealous and chases the lighter one away, and so it's a bit of a kind of game at the moment, although it seems as though they've found a rhythm now and everybody is okay and it's going to settle a little bit better. This poor light one is having to feed around Gwen's leg because the dark one won't let it get any closer than that. Every time it tries to come around the leg, it gets chased away, and so the moment is in a very precarious position trying to feed, and I can't be comfortable. Poor Gwen must be being pulled in all directions at the moment because its little face is not actually that long, and to get around the leg like that is going to be probably fairly uncomfortable for all involved. You can see Gwen is kind of looking around. Shame, my girl. It's not something she's not experienced before. At the end of the day, she is one of our older hyenas. She's about 12 years old, so she's experienced this more than enough times, and she's probably pretty used to these young ones and their dynamics and hooliganism that they display when they're at this age. And it's quite funny, you can hear them almost talking to each other. They've gone quiet now, but every now and then you'll just hear some squeaks coming out of them as they reposition themselves. It almost sounds bird-like, doesn't it? It sounds like little franklins walking around, but it's actually these little babies that are squeaking in happiness, I would imagine, now that they've got food and mom close by. There we go. I think everybody's now settled comfortably and seems to be okay. I don't think there's... Well, let's see. Now the little one is kind of skirting its way around. It might cause that darker one just to get a little bit more upset with it and chase it off again. the little tail of the dark one, how up it is. So I was saying earlier, when their tails lift like that, it's often a sign that they're getting, either there's some sort of irritation or excitement or something like that. And I wonder if it's not just getting a little irritated with the youngest one. Now, Jamie, you're wondering how fast hyenas run. I'm just trying to think what their number would be in miles, but they can do about 60 kilometers an hour when at full speed. Obviously, they're not designed to run incredibly fast, so they're not designed to run like cheetah or lions or even leopard for that matter. They're more designed to run for longer distances and longer periods, and so their speed is not the highest, but they do have insane amounts of endurance. So it's a completely different body structure, and the wrong body structure for speed. They're built more like power lifters and endurance marathon athletes than they are built sort of 100-meter athletes. They're just sort of designed for big, strong shoulder areas and neck, and then the slope back that allows them to almost rock as they run, which is far more energy efficient than the straight-backed animal, and it allows them to cover a lot more distance. And so they don't need to rely on speed. As long as they've got some speed that allows them to kind of just keep up with those animals and keep visual sort of views of the animal as they hunt, then they're okay. So they don't need to be as fast as what you see with some of the others. But you see, look at how submissive this little one is already, and you see how the dark one chases it, and the other one then squeaks and tries to get its way. It goes down onto its knees, so it's a very submissive posture. It's much like what we saw out of that steenbok yesterday, and what we've seen from our leopards sometimes when they approach bigger individuals. It's submissive, it's down, it's trying non-threatening as it tries to suckle. So that little one is obviously having a tough time of it. The darker one seems to be the bully out of the two of them, which often happens, is you often get one sibling that's slightly stronger than the other, and that causes shame, man. Don't be nasty to your sibling. He's almost begging just for the food. Just you wondering, what is the older male's hyena's role when it comes to cubs like this at a den? Well, they're squeaking a lot. Well, basically, there's no role whatsoever. They don't do anything. The moms are in complete sort of control of what goes on. They're the ones that will look after these little ones. They're the ones that provide food, suckle, safety, make sure that they're in the dens. The males pretty much are lowest of the low when it comes to hyena clans. They really aren't too sort of important, and they don't do much other than just keeping rival males at bay and keeping them away from the females. Their function as a dad or as a father figure or as a protector of these cubs is almost null and void. They really aren't in any way associated with them, and in fact, actually, if a male comes now, these two females in all likelihood would chase a male away and keep a male at bay. They're not really welcome at the den sites. They will allow them at sort of carcasses and things like that, but in terms of the den sites, they're not really welcome at all. Shame. This poor little one is trying its best to plead and beg with its sibling to try and get some sort of milk, but is not having any of it. I can sympathize with this little one. When I was younger, my brother was 5 years older than me. He was used to push me around and offer food every now and then, and so I can sympathize and kind of have to be sneaky and try and find different ways around. Super cool. It's amazing to watch these guys and the social dynamics, like I say, between them. You would think at that age, if it was leopard cubs or even lion cubs, they would be far more kind of polite to one another and far more sort of aware of each other, and as long as there's teats to feed on, they really wouldn't go after one another. Whereas you can see with hyenas, there's already this dominance going on even at that age. Now there goes a Battalier eagle. So that is the fourth species of raptor we've seen since we've been at the den. It's just flying by in the wind and is going off, and the reason why we know it's a Battalier is that short tail structure, and then those nice big broad wings and the black and white coloration as well. So our Battalier Eagle is slowly but surely departing the scene and moving away from us. And so while we sit and watch the Battalier disappear and watch our little hyena youngsters compete for milk, I believe Jamie is still out and about and birding.
There's cattle barons and so on, so it's not as simply just...
You know, the local guys who sneak their stuff, and they really wouldn't have any clue about this whole thing. Safari Live.
Yeah. I'm trying to catch that. Oh, I do apologize for that. Apparently we missed some communication somewhere, so we're live. We're just talking about politics, actually, and the goings on in terms of Kenya's elections, what it means for the people here, what it means for us, how it all is going to play out. But what I actually wanted to show you was that zebra over there, but it walked away while I was chattering away to Jahawi, who of course is Kenyan and therefore knows far more about these things than I do. But it could easily have been a lion, it could easily have been a hyena. But with a straight mark like that, I would say that that was probably something along the lines of a lion. A scratch down the belly. It could also have been another zebra. Walks with a little bit of a limp as well. Some old injuries there. I've run out of roads to drive that I can drive down with signal, so we'd be doing circles within circles looking for some more exciting birds to show you, but the sort of the height of the birding time has now passed. Jamie, I think I heard that right. Was it Janie or Jamie? But either way, you want to know what animals are most likely to survive the longest in the wild. Elephants have an exceptionally high or exceptionally long life, often up to 60, maybe even 70, but usually around about 60 years for the females. So an elephant will be, and they also have quite a high survival rate from the moment they're born. A very slow reproductive rate. It takes them 2 years to have a calf. It takes them another 3 to get to the point where they're ready for the next one. But they do have a very high survival rate. Rhino, also, unfortunately, that's changing, of course, due to the number of, or the problem with poaching. Rhino, hippopotamus also have quite a long life expectancy, 40 or so years. Those would be the animals that will live the longest. The animals that will live short, very short lifespans. Oh, you know what else? Come to think of it, certain snakes and certain reptiles will also have quite a long life expectancy, provided they survive. But that is a very, I don't want to say that they're more. Are we rolling? We are rolling a little bit. Sorry about that. Something like a crocodile, for instance, could live for an exceptionally long time, but about 1 in 100, sometimes even, depending on where they are, that statistic is even lower, will actually make it to those giant croc sizes that we see in the Mara River. So it's very, very unusual for a crocodile to actually survive long enough to get to that size, to get to the point where they are actually big enough and strong enough to have a long life expectancy. But if they do, then you're looking at up to 100 years that they could live in the wild. But I don't want to include that on the list because it's unlikely to happen. And you asked me whether it would be which one would be most likely to live a long time. So zebra, 20, maybe 30 years if there's a really lucky, very smart zebra to get away from all the predators out here. Giraffe, over 20 years, but provided they reach that adulthood size. Lions, leopards, you're only looking in the mid-teens, if that. The zebra's showing his teeth. I want to see if we can maybe try and get that. I've most definitely run out of roads, though. In fact, I've driven down this road about 5 times looking for birds. Okay, next big question from Umkar. So compared to lifespan, which animal has the longest gestation period? Let me think about this because I'm not going to know it off the top of my head. If possible, if we could look at the zebra, that would be, while I do the thinking, that would also be exceptionally helpful so my mind can work. So we're looking at zebra, 20-30 years, gestation period of around about 12 months. Hippos have a very short gestation period, so we'll count them out. Rhinos have a long lifespan, but quite a long gestation of around about 15 months. Elephants, 60 years, 22 months. Which way around am I going again? Am I going for the longest gestation with the shortest lifespan? I've forgotten now. Megan, help me. Now I'm just listing numbers. Which way around was it meant to be? I've forgotten. I can't possibly have forgotten that. The longest gestation compared to lifespan. Okay. Longest gestation compared to lifespan. Zebra's pretty long. A zebra has quite a long gestation period. Okay, a giraffe has a longer gestation period compared to its life expectancy. So a giraffe is pregnant for quite a long time. The elephants will count out because they live for so long, so that 2-year gestation doesn't quite fit. This is a really hard question to try and think of off the top of my head. I'd have to go and do a series of calculations to try and work that out. So a giraffe would be a good one, because a giraffe could be pregnant for up to 15 months, sometimes even longer, and a giraffe will live over 20 years. I'm going to go with a giraffe straight off the bat. Most antelope are a couple of months to under a year. Wild dogs have quite a short gestation period, but they have quite a short life expectancy as well, an average life expectancy of around about 5 years. But their gestation is short. So is a lion's. So is a cheetah. So is a hyenas. Oh, look at this chap. I love it when they do this. It's hilarious. No, don't stop just because we're looking. Don't get shy. There you go. I'm going to have to do some sitting and thinking about that question. It's one I've definitely never been asked, which I always love in a question. And definitely appreciate it. My reaction is to say giraffe for now, but I'm sure there's species that I've forgotten about completely. So while I rack my brains around that question, let's go across to Brent, who's been absent for a while, but for a very good reason.
Well, we had to get some fuel in the car, but we've managed to do that. And we noticed some topies staring into this little lugger or little river system, and we found a single hungry lioness on the move. Now, there are potentially some warthog up ahead, and there's actually tracks of a much bigger pride heading down the little road we were on. So I think she's lost, and she's trying to find the rest of her pride. Oh, and she's popping out again. Now, we are in the high usage or non-off-roading zone, so we can't get any closer to her at the moment. But we're going to keep an eye on where she heads. Remember, this is 100% live from the Masai Mara in Kenya. Oh, what has she spotted? Are the other lions in the shade? Is there potential meal? Or is she just hopefully looking towards that area, thinking, well, if I was the rest of the pride, that's where I would be in the shade, because it is heating up quite quickly at the moment. Sorry about the noise, I'm just trying to grab my binoculars so I can have a quick look around. Batman, what have you done with my binoculars? It wasn't Batman, it was me. So I did see a warthog in the area she's heading towards. That was quite a while ago. And I'm hoping... Oh, let's just move on a little bit. This road unfortunately doesn't follow the lugger, but it gets us a nice high view. So maybe we can see if she can find the rest of the pride. Now it is still very sticky and slippery out here. And sometimes the most innocent looking little puddles can turn into something a little bit nefarious. or actually a lot nefarious. And let's see if we can spot those warthogs again. I think they've seen her and made a run for it already. Let's see if there's still lion tracks around. Unfortunately not. Lots of hyena tracks. Oh, she's decided to take a rest on a termite mound. Actually, hang on. No, it is a lion rock. I thought I spotted some other members of the pride. And there those warthog are disappearing at a rate of knots. They definitely saw her. Right in front of me, Craig, next to the termite mounds. Come out a bit. There we go. They definitely spotted her. And we all know how much lions like warthog, so they are not hanging about. Lots of other game around. Topi, Thompson's gazelle, impala, some zebra in the distance. But all a bit far for her, and especially at this time of the day. Well, we're going to keep moving. We've still got a long way to go. We're not even near the Puringat Bridge yet. So we're going to leave this lovely lioness and head on our way. But remember, Craig and I are going to be out for most of the day, and you never know when the action might happen. But while we go in search of action and wildebeest and all fun things, let us go back to Scott, who has got some wildebeest of his own.
Yes, we've managed to catch up to the wildebeest that I saw from down on the banks of the Mara River, and they are all slowly, steadily making their way south and west towards Tanzania. We're not far from the Tanzanian border here, and a beautiful, beautiful scene. I'm hoping Brent does get lucky on his day out. I think we're going to slowly make our way back to camp. We're about an hour or hour and a half away. But if we do find any possibilities of good action, or at least animals that might be worth sticking with during the day, we will do that, because we loaded up. We've got some sandwiches and some nuts and some things to keep us full if we are in fact going to spend the day out, which was our initial plan. But as so often happens, the plan changes, Archer, because we run on the animals' schedule, and quite often ours is not in sync with theirs. Wonderful. All right, well, I'm going to say goodbye to all of you for this morning, and possibly see you a little bit later on, or this afternoon. And Tristan is going to spend the last few minutes of the safari with you. See you next time.
We are indeed. We are going to spend it with our rather sleepy little hyenas that have made friends now. You can see the little one is tucked up with the darker one, and so we've got a situation where everybody is nice and restful and happy to be together. And I think it's that kind of weather that we're going to find our little cubs are going to probably sleep for the remainder of the day. Once they've suckled, I wouldn't be surprised they go back into their den for a little nap. Still been an absolutely wonderful morning with these guys. They've been such fun to spend time with. They really have been entertaining, and it's only recent in the last sort of 5 minutes that everything has really kind of calmed down and they've actually started to rest and take it far more easy. So it's been absolutely great to spend time with them. Now the little ones themselves, I think, have drank enough now. They've had a situation where they're completely kind of full, and you can see both of them are lying down, and now it's time to be friends again and bond, and there'll be a little bit of grooming, and they'll find that they'll rest on one another. And while mom is here, we're going to see a situation where they'll spend time just sleeping out and about. I'm sure it gets a bit claustrophobic in that little termite mound, and so they get shoved in it enough that I'm pretty sure they want to be out. Right, unfortunately, that's all we're going to have time for the rest of the morning. It's been a difficult morning in that our leopards have given us the slip, but still we've had a lot of fun, and I hope that you've all enjoyed it too, as Jamie went about her birding business. Brent was at the crossings, and Scott was also out and about as well, and he had the Hyena Den, so it was lots of little things for everybody this morning, and we'll hopefully have a good afternoon, and we'll see you all on the Sunset Safari this afternoon.